Yo, welcome to another episode of All Bass Curations, Effects, Tutorials, Demos, and Review. So today, we're going to be going over fixing these latency issues and tracking issues with the Future Impact V4 VIP, the MXR bass synth, and the amazing Enzo X. So that was just the Enzo X there. Let's hear a little bit of the MXR bass synth. Okay, MXR bass synth. See, we got amazing tracking out of both of these units. And if you don't know, you also have a freeze function on the MXR bass synth as well. So I want to just hold that note. I can just have mine set up instead of the presets to just sustain. And you can play over it. All right. Future Impact V4 VIP. Make sure y'all hit that like button while you're hanging out with your boy. I'm giving you these amazing tips for you guys. You know, I had to spend a lot of hours figuring this out. Let's go. So, all right, let's get started here. So what we got going on, essentially, is just a few adjustments that need to happen. Let me make sure we good here. Get a little bit of this noise in here. But, okay. Well, that's what I get for not using the XLR cable. But it's pretty much the tone of my bass. So you got to start there. Before you even add anything else, you want to start with how you have your tone or EQ of your bass. So for something like the Enzo X, well, let's start with these two. These two prefer that you have your flat bass, right? So you got that. And while the Enzo X likes a very similar tone, just with a little bit more bass past flat. What's going on, folks? Appreciate all y'all saying hi. Awesome. I love my 6-string. I only play 6-string. I don't even play nothing else. So that's the basic tone we going with. Let's start with the Enzo X. So, before we get there, we got the tone, right? Some compression usually helps as well. And on this compressor, so let's talk about what I am boosting. I am boosting the high mids, right? So I'm boosting the high mids on my bass, which is, I believe, around 800. And then I'm boosting around 2.3K with the Empress compressor, and got it at a 2-to-1 ratio. But really, most of the time, I'm actually pushing it to 6. So I'm like kind of really pushing into that compressor quite a bit. Compared to, it brings the bass way more forward. It makes it so that the pedals do not have to do too much to try to, get to the actual fundamental of the sound. So the other thing, next thing, before you even get there, you just want to tune up a bit, right? So things like the Future Impact have a tuner, and so does the Enzo X. Enzo X, you access the tuner through here. And this is also, if you like alternative tunings, you would change the reference tuning for the entire device through the tuner screen right here. And then you can actually tune your bass in that tuning as well. All that good stuff. Future Impact allows the same thing, but you press and hold the, if you don't press it and hold it too long, but you just press and hold till it goes blank. Now you're in the tuner mode. And this is probably one of the most crucial things, is to just check your tuning. Definitely helps the pedal track way better. And that's not exclusive to any one pedal. That's all of them, because they're looking for they're tuned to a certain reference frequency. And of course that means that they need to have a certain amount of things that it needs, and it needs to be within a certain range, because that's what it's looking for. And that can make your pedal not track or give you additional latency issues as well. So now Enzo X, we're going to start here, which has amazing tracking, by the way. And I mean, amazing. And of course, you also have it automatically switches. By the way, so even when it's tracking very well, it definitely does the job. I'm not sure what base station 2 you have. I don't know what that is. I don't know what you're asking. You're gonna have to clarify on that. But one of the main things that helps the Enzo X track and is that note persist value in here, and making sure that your input is set to instrument, right? Unless you're using a line or a synth, because that also plays a huge role. And so you how you set up your oscillators makes a difference. But that note persists. You want to keep that between like 4 to 11 seconds, like 4 seconds for your quicker stuff like this. And for chordal things, it definitely takes, it uses, I guess, the longer second. It needs a little bit more time, But that's more for the polyphonic side of things. See what we got here. What's going on, Porch Base? Appreciate it. Usual suspects starting to pop on in here. Y'all make sure you hit that like button. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Like the video. And hit the hype button, the reactions. Check out Patreon, you know what I'm saying, for all my presets, all that good stuff. But, yeah, you're looking at my synth bass station. You're looking at it. Like, this is a bass synth, this is a bass synth, and this is a bass synth. I don't need to have a separate keyboard bass synth. These actually will do everything that those keyboards would do for bass synth. So I don't even need it, especially the Future Impact and the Enzo X. The MXR bass synth, not necessarily. But now the Enzo X, I forgot to say another little tip, just fret wrap definitely helps. Fret wrap definitely helps. Definitely helps. So noise gate is a built-in noise gate on the Enzo X. So that also helps with the tracking. So you want to experiment so far with the Enzo, in terms of the Enzo X, you would want to, the note persist, pay attention to how you're setting up the oscillators, and then the noise gate, the global noise gate on there. And then from there, remember the tips from before. Have your bass high, mids, heavy, with maybe just a little bump in the bass, just a smidge bump in the bass, highs flat, good amount of compression and volume, And then the rest, is just you playing cleanly. Oh, let me give it some value here. So, all those little things definitely will help your, Enzo X track better. Now, let's move on to the MXR bass synth, right? So when you get it, it'll be in 5-string mode. Turn it on 4. And this is another little global tip a tip for all bass synths. You want to play on no lower than this low B on your E string. So from here on up is where you want to play for bass synth stuff. And one of the main reasons why is most bass synths have sub bass already built into them. So if you're trying to play in the sub bass frequency already, the sub bass has nowhere to go. It just garbles, right? So when you're playing above here, you get the unison synth, and I still get that sub bass like I'm playing my low B string. Right, so that's one of the biggest things. Where you're playing, how you're playing. Some pedals don't mind you playing down here on your bass. A lot of them, like the Enzo X, likes when you play more on the neck area. Versus. Okay, so MXR bass synth is going to be in 5-string mode when you first get it. Switch it to 4-string mode, and because the 4-string mode is going to track faster. Then you also want to change or play around with the noise, the gate sensitivity on there. So you access that by pressing the shape button and turning the resonance knob, and now to change the input gate, and that's super important. Let me see what we got. Well, that whole sound was the Maris. This whole, all that's the Maris. The Maris Enzo X is a synth bass monster. Like, is as much as the Future Impact is, the Enzo X is its own synth bass monster. All day, you can do so many crazy bass synth sounds with the Enzo X. Appreciate you, Jillian. Subscribe and appreciate that. Yes, you can emulate acid type bass synths and synth stuff with this Enzo X. You don't even need this whole setup to do that type of stuff. You can do it with the Future Impact or the Enzo X. You can get acid bass type sounds. You know, I'll go through some different sounds in a little bit, but I just want to make sure y'all get these tracking tips. You know, I was even able to get a log bass sound, like for Ami piano type music. I was able to get a log bass sound on the Enzo X and the Future Impact, because the Future Impact has an FM synth now too, but I like it more on the Enzo X. Anyway, but yeah, the MXR isn't too picky about a lot of things, but if you got all those tips before, it'll track amazingly. You know, turn this on. What else? I got that on too. So that's the sound I got up at the moment, right? And you're hearing straight bass synth right there. That's not a octaver. That's not, you know what I'm saying? People mistake these bass synth pedals. These are actual bass synth pedals, or synth pedals rather. Just call them synth pedals, because you can do a little bit more than synth bass with them, a lot more than synth bass with these pedals. So, and I mean individually, you ain't even gotta have all the other ones. You can individually do a lot more than just bass synth sounds with them. So, you know, you just want to, it's not the same as adding an octaver, some overdrive, and a filter. It's not even the same thing. I don't know. I think some people have that confused. Like I saw a few comments like that about the MXR bass synth. And while this isn't the most expansive bass synth, it is an amazing bass synth for what it is, and it allows you to get an actual bass synth and get in the game. If you don't, if you don't understand bass synth, which if a lot of bass players would be real with themselves, and I had to be honest with myself and take on the real learning curve of bass synth and just synth in general, you don't even know, you think that is the same thing as me taking a poly blue, some overdrive and the blurst. You know what I'm saying? Or the MXR, but it's not. It's not. These are oscillators. These oscillators are being triggered by pitch detection. So, you're getting a real square wave, a real saw wave, a real triangle wave. Same thing in these boxes as well. Let me see. It would be crazy to see. Yeah, you can easily do that 90s techno stuff with bass. It's not hard. I mean, with your electric bass, especially with these pedals, you can absolutely do that. Yes, that is correct. It is triggering their own oscillators. It's not modifying your incoming signal like I know some of the old bass synth pedals used to do that. These newer ones do not do that. These newer ones are the Enzo X and the Future Impact. I will put them up for synth bass against any keyboard, and I guarantee they're going to be able to keep up. This thing has 4 oscillators in it that you can have 3 different waveforms on at a time. You can have triangle, saw, and square wave all on the same oscillator. And you can have 4 of those. So you create your own custom waveforms, 4 of those, plus, Moog style filters, all the bells and whistles you need to create amazing bass sound. I'm gonna get right back to y'all questions. Give me 1 second. Keep asking questions so I can come, because I'm gonna pick up right where I left off. But I want to make sure we don't lose topic here. Make sure you hit that like button. All right, so now that's all you need for the MXR bass synth. It's not too picky, The Future Impact. See what we got here. Which one do we have? Number 5. Matter of fact, let's go to 30. Get nasty on that joint. You hear how immediate that is. They all track extremely well. Latency is not really an issue. The main issue is getting into that tracking sweet spot with them. With the Future Impact, primarily, is getting into that tracking sweet spot, and that's more so the volume thing. So mostly you want to start with your. First off, you want to use the 0 latency. Update your Future Impact if you haven't already. The 4.5 firmware is out, which includes a new tracking mode called 0 latency, which is really fast. Carlston, I definitely appreciate you as well, subbing. Thank you. So with this, I would say you got this input level, no off level, no on level, besides the tracking mode, but I like the zero latency. Note off, I keep around 58, just so I can be able to, do faster notes. The note off level determines, so if you want to play longer notes, well, really, if you just want to be able to play some staccato stuff, you want to keep it at a higher number. So I keep mine at a 58. And in terms of the note on level, I keep that at 38. So the main thing is that note off level is determines, it's pretty much like your input gate, the note on level. So if you're getting double, like say it's triggering double notes or something, you want to raise it up, and say it's not triggering certain notes, you want to lower that note on level. Now with this input level, you see, you don't have to get all the way to that red. Now, the manual recommends that you get your higher notes to just briefly hit that red. See how it just blinks? But you see it'll track just on the green. And the reason why you have to get that just right is because when it's always hitting that red, it's going to trigger too much. And it's not going to know when you're separating notes as easily. And when it's not triggering high enough, it's just going to skip notes, you know what I'm saying? So, too high and it'll make it trigger too much. Too low, it won't trigger enough. So this and the note on and off levels are your main things with that, like in the tracking, tracking mode, I use 0. So that pretty much explains the tracking. I'm gonna go back through those tips in 1 second for you guys. Let's see. Yeah, the MXR bass synth has been sold out in a lot of places for a long time, not just the UK. I was lucky enough to find somebody selling this used. So I actually bought this used for actually a little cheaper, like a couple months after somebody, I guess, got it, didn't like it. A lot of times if you don't read the manual, folks, you will sell really good, equipment because you really don't know how to use it, even though you've tricked yourself into thinking that. Till you go through that manual, you don't know what you think you know. Go through the manual. Even though I know how to use all this stuff, even though I know how to use an octaver, I know how to use an analog compressor, I still go and read the manual because I need to know certain numbers. There's certain numbers and ranges that you need to know, in order to even use it properly. Yes, you can just do it by your ear, but if you really want to learn how to use a compressor, you really want to learn how to use a synth, you really want to learn how to use amp modelers and different things, read the manual. You can use it. I tell you what, put it on your phone, read it while you're using the bathroom. You ain't even got to take no extra time out your day. Just learn some part of it that you didn't know, and it'll definitely help you out. I've been learning FM synth, so definitely help you out. Most bass players tune down and get a low A. No, that won't try. That won't affect if you drop tune. Really, you don't have to drop tune with the Enzo X. Enzo X, you can actually stay in your regular tuning and do drop tuning with the Enzo X itself because it has a mono and polyphonic octaver in it. So that's also an option. But yes, it will track as long as it's in tune. As long as your drop tuning is in tune to 440, it's fine. If it's not, then you would need to, change the tuner reference in the tuner by holding down this, get to the tuner reference, and you'll be able to change it there. Well, right here. See what else we got. Yeah, I love sound design and synth myself. Yeah, I give you a little. I'll let you hear that. Yeah, cause somebody requested that. That's why I decided to do that log drum sound. Do you ever blend your dry and wet signal, or is that an issue with latency causing weird phase issues? I feel like a combo of synth plus natural sound could be nice also. You can blend in your regular dry signal with any of these, right? For me, the point of bass synth is to get. I want to be with bass synth pedals. I want the same freedom as a keyboardist, as a pianist, to play the actual synth sounds. I'm not really most of the time combining my dry sound because my dry sound typically isn't like if I wanted a dry bass sound for me. This is just me, but I know a lot of people like to blend them. So all these pedals you can blend them. Let me find some patches where it's blended. And no, none of these have a problem with you using your dry signal and the synth. Of course, you're the way your dry bass sound is now a part of it. So that's another factor, and like I said, a big part of tracking is the way your bass is EQ'd to come through to the to be tracked. So, that also needs to be considered. And this is a Artisan Bassworks 6-string Artisan Bassworks custom Fidelity 6-string bass. So this company doesn't actually exist anymore. This is the only one like this in the world. Do you also add a compressor after the synth pedals? Yes. The Mercury X is an excellent end of the chain pedal. It's not just a reverb pedal. It can be used for all your bass sounds and filtering, all that stuff, pitch shiftings in here, modulations, bit crushing, and tape saturation, all that stuff is in here, plus modifiers for everything. But the compressor link is what I use in here, and that's at a 10-to-1 ratio running parallel compression, which is half wet, half dry. And I also have the filter in here acting as a high pass filter at times when I'm running my dry bass signal. And I use the op amp in here, which is a preamp that gives you a nice bass sound. Now, these synths also are running through the Tone X1s, which are running one of my combination pack presets. If you're not familiar with my stuff, I have 20-some different preset packs for the Tone X1s. All these future impact sounds you hear, you can have. Enzo X, all these Mercury X, all those are preset packs. C4 synth, all the Zoom pedals, B6, MS60B plus, MS70 CDR plus. All those available on the Patreon, so you ain't even gotta worry about it. If you get one of these, you can have all my sounds immediately available to you. But yeah, this including those compression settings and like my settings for end of my chain. But yeah, it works amazing. The compressor link in there actually compresses each side of the left and right separately, so it doesn't just you also have the regular compressor does compresses the left and right the exact same, but the compressor link allows you to have separate lets the compressor process the left and right separately, and same thing with the limiter link and limiter in there. So it has some really good end of the chain twos in the Mercury X. Yep. Yeah, I'll do some videos about it, but to be honest, like I'm not a huge fan of the the presets. I'm not a huge fan of anybody's presets, to be honest. Only preset companies presets that I'm ever been a huge fan of is Maris. These two pedals. These two came with some amazing presets that really opened up my curiosity into synth. So, and into just how things are made, modulation, modular reverb stuff, But yeah, so that's how that went. But yeah, I will. And what I am going to do is finish learning FM synth and actually be able to create sounds myself, because I have a particular taste for bass sounds, and that everybody that might be creating these might not necessarily have. I don't, for instance, I'll just do that real quick because we pretty much went through the tracking stuff for you guys. Oh, real quick recap. All right, before we move on, because y'all get me every time, but I got you. I'm gonna show you a couple of those patches. I'm gonna show you my favorite ones, and I'm gonna show you some of the other ones. But I got to do the log sound too, log drum sound as well. All right, so just a quick recap on the tracking for everything, right? So you want start with your bass, keep your bass frequency flat, boost your high mids on your bass, keep your highs flat, or you can roll them off some, right? Then from there you want to compress it probably to about 6 to 1 is what I'm actually getting, but I got it set to a 2 to 1. Get you a fret wrap. These fret wraps definitely help you out a lot. They're not going to compensate for you see that? It will not. If you're not playing cleanly, stuff will still interfere with your playing, but it definitely it definitely helps it's like a physical noise gate for your bass. And from there, all right, you want to pay attention to where you're picking. Some bass synths don't mind you playing down here, but a lot of them like this up here for some reason. I guess because it's less attack and just more of the fuller note, I guess. From here, Enzo X, you want to pay attention to your note persist time. Keep that between 4 and 11 seconds, right? Then you also want to pay attention to how you're setting up your oscillators. You want to set them up so they're pretty much all sustained most of the time, unless that's not what you're looking for. And you want to turn on the global noise gate in here and make sure that the input is set to instrument. For the MXR bass synth, when you first get it, it's going to be on 5-string. Turn it on 4-string. It's going to track faster, way faster. And you want to adjust the gate sensitivity on here as well. Also, just like any other bass synth pedal, all these bass synth pedals want you to play from they all will track to the low B, but that's none of your concern. You want to know why? Because you want the synth bass sound, and that's going to require some sub bass, right? You can't get the sub bass if you're already in the sub bass frequency. So you want to play from the low, from the B on the low E string and up. But that gives you plenty of territory. Like, look, I'm only losing it. I'm not losing anything. I'm not losing anything. This B here, if I have my sub bass on, is my low B string. It's the same pitch. So I'm not losing anything right here. So, maybe to the A, for those of you like to really drop down. And that A is still, all these will track to that A as well. They will all track down to the B. But either way. All right, so is there anything else on the MXR? MXR bass synth, like I said, is not too picky. The future impact, you want to pay attention to the input level, right? You don't want that too high. Mind that's the Mercury X doing that twin filter sound right there. That's that joint fire, boy. But this is right. So it's input level, no off level, no on level, and you want to use that zero latency tracking on there is very good. So that's what I'm going with for all my sounds. But even the speed mode was really good. But the updated tracking on this pedal is insane. Like I absolutely, when I say it definitely was a huge improvement. Update that to that 4.5 version. You won't be mad at all. And all the new pedals are shipping with it. But if you go into the US, they're gonna have that nice little hefty tariff on there. I don't know, because I don't use a MIDI beam for control in particular. I actually use a Graviton M1 and the 10-foot switch down bottom here, which is wirelessly connected to the Graviton M1, which is where I keep all my presets and stuff like that. Touch screen, super easy to program. And this is actually tied to a CME H4 MIDI Pro, which is built under the board, which gives me my extra, gives me two 5-pin MIDI inputs and outputs each. 2 input, 2 outputs. Plus, I can control up to 8 USB MIDI devices and all this other stuff. So, and it's wireless, allows Bluetooth MIDI. So, when I'm playing the keyboard, I can wirelessly transmit MIDI around my room here. And I also use a MIDI captain. On the floor here is another 10-foot switches, and that is also wirelessly connected to the pedal board as well. So, that's what I would recommend. I can recommend what I got right here. I haven't actually used that MIDI beam for control at all. So, and I'm not a sales rep for them either. So. For Panda Audio, but they do make. I do love this pedal. These pedals you're hearing me talk about, I'm not getting paid from these folks to say this. At the moment, what I'm saying, like, yes, I do have an affiliation with Tone, IK Multimedia and Maris, but it's not nothing that I would be willing to compromise telling you guys the truth, because ultimately I'm here for you guys. You guys are the reason why those people talk to me in the first place, right? Because I've been able to play, but it's because of you guys and how you guys have been supporting me that those people even want to talk to me. So you guys are my main focus. And getting you guys the right and proper information is always my focus. So I hope I don't ever want to lead you guys to buy something and you know that's crap. I'm never gonna do that. Yeah, the future impact, definitely. The VIP joint is amazing. It's actually about the same size as the MXR. It's just sideways. It's the size of a regular pedal, just horizontal, which actually works out very well in the pedal board scheme, because most of the pedals are vertical like this. But having it like this, you can fit some smaller little pedal here if you wanted to, if you're not accessing the MIDI ports, different things like that. All right, let's go to log drum, because that was first, and then we'll go to DX7 sounds. Make sure y'all hit that like button and them reactions. It helps me out a lot. Channels is on right there. So I made this on the Enzo X. And you can also, I have it set up to where whatever you want to do. So you can do whatever you want. And that's with the Enzo X. Enzo X is not an FM synth, but it does have the X mod on there, which allows you to modulate the... So the way FM synth works is it's a sine wave modulated by another one, and another one, and another one, and another one. Pretty much getting you to those really metallic sounds. So... And as far as opening up the filter, I just have certain parameters assigned to the expression pedal. Or, no, this is assigned to the hold modifier. So, which is not really that hard. You know, but it did take a while because you gotta, so with sound design and synth sounds, you gotta learn the sounds that you have there, the oscillators, and how that sounds there, or operators in FM, terms. You gotta know what that sounds like raw, and then like really familiarize yourself with the combinations, and you'll start to really hear it in other sounds. Just a quick example would be the way I was able to, on the Enzo X, I have this piano, this EP Rhodes type sound. So, is that a real E Rhodes? No, but it's close enough when you hear it in context with other things. Thank you. I appreciate you for subbing. I don't know what that says in particular because I only speak English, but I definitely appreciate you hanging out with me, and I definitely appreciate you subscribing. So, most people don't even know you could get to sounds like this on the Enzo X, because the Enzo X is a real synth. These are real synths. Like the Future Impact can get you duplicate all those sounds from the Moog keyboards, the Novation bass station, the ARP 2600. It can duplicate all that stuff. All them vintage sounds, it can do it. But this takes, I had to kind of really think about what I was hearing, the parts of what I was hearing for EP to even be able to kind of simulate it, you know? Same way with the strings. Brass. more of a quicker. And so like all those different parameters to get it to be able to go from that pad type sound has to be set up, right? So a lot of people don't like think about everything that you can transform a sound into and how to get from point A to point B. And to be quite frankly, I didn't a year or two ago, other than with effects pedals and a bass. I'm talking about with synths. You know, I always thought about how to get a sound from point A to point B, but you know, with synths, you know, I never really thought about how a synth operates as much as now, or you know, being able to dissect different sounds that I'm hearing and try to recreate something close to that as close to that as possible. Clavy, also Enzo X. So just like little sounds like that. Trumpet. Sax. Flute. So all these different sounds I'm getting out of just the Enzo X. I can do flute, saxophone type sounds, pretty much, you know, similar type sounds with the Future Impact. I just can't go polyphonic with them. Like if I wanted to turn this trumpet sound into a horn section, all I have to do is come over here, change it to the polyphonic synth instead of the monophonic synth. All the synth sounds is coming from the Enzo X. The Mercury X is doing that organ Leslie sound and the reverb and everything else. So without it, then I add this to get more of that synth brass sound. Then Enzo X in there. Which is insane. Like, not only can it do the bass synth stuff, it can do insane stuff like that. It's got built-in top-notch reverb, filters, drives, all that stuff in there. So I wouldn't just get the Enzo X and just do bass synth stuff. Why? Why would you ever do that to yourself? Like, it's one of the most advanced pedals I've ever used. Like, that and the Future Impact definitely are two of the most advanced pedals I've ever used. And I mean, these two, the Mercury X and Enzo X, Future Impact, just insane. So yeah, definitely when you get a chance, check out that Future Impact. Yeah, all right. Let's go to the Future Impact. Okay, so if you didn't know, the Future Impact got a DX7 update, so it does FM synths, and it can actually use the files from Yamaha DX7 now. So one of the new features is it has a V8 engine, which is the original that we already had, and then it has a FM synth. So the way you switch that, you have to use a bank LSB message. So if you do bank LSB, or in this case, if you want to access that, the Future Impact uses CC32 for the bank LSB message, right? So if you send a CC message to Future Impact, so I'm gonna have mine on channel 2. So CC32 is going to the Future Impact. CC message 32 value 0 is the V8 engine, and CC number 32 value 1 is the FM. And the reason why that's important is because if you don't set it up through MIDI, you have to do all of this to get to it. So watch this. You got to hold this down, wait for this say GLB, global, press program, into the global menu. If you're not already on the thing, you got to put this on note off level, right? Oh, and then press program. Where does your join at? Where is it? I think I already passed it. So you got to come to instrument, INS. Then you got to turn this to note on level. Change this to from BSA to BSF, right? Which is so bass, FM, and then press that. So you gotta go through that long process, right? But if you have it on MIDI already, I just switched. You already in that movie territory. You switch it over, bam, I'm in my FM sounds. Look how much faster that is, a press of a button versus that whole complicated process. I can literally switch here and switch back and forth. When it's got that dot consistently there, it's FM. When the dot is not there, or the dot is here, then it's VA. So subtractive synth, FM synth. All right, let's rock and roll. Oh, just so you guys know, some of the sound or saturation and stuff is coming from, well, a lot of it's tone and EQ is on the Tone X1, which has the color box. So this blue one, when it's blinking here, is just the color box EQ setting I have for my bass stuff. And when it's here, it's the color box. When it's this pink color, it's the color box running into a Jens Bend Shuttle 9.0 tube preamp. So I'm getting the color box saturation and the tube amp saturation from this particular preset. And the one in the orange is a guitar. It's a Marshall guitar amp. All right. So we're just going to turn it on this color box setting. And I'm going to pull up the list of the ones I actually like. Well, I know which one I like off the back. My favorite one out of the presets is the flute sound. But I'll just run through some sounds. Let me check these note on and off levels here. Okay. And they are different note on and off levels for the FM and VA side. What's going on? It's 1, 2. And see, a lot of these sounds are again designed to be if you wanted to actually use them as bass sounds, you'd have to play down here the way they kind of designed. When reality, if you really wanted to hear the bass sound, the synth bass sound, I don't need my regular bass signal in there. I just don't like it. Unless that's the effect of the song, and most synth-based songs is not, and I don't need it in there. And that it's like all these have, like every single sound on here has your dry signal in there. You got to literally turn it off if you want to just hear the sound. And see, this is why people get the impression that the pedal doesn't track well. It's because when you get the stock sounds, they place them all down here in the range that so many bass players think they need to play. That's not how you play synth bass. Oh, that grinds my gears when people do that. Like, stop trying to play synth bass down here. It sucks. It sucks. Stop making the sounds to go down there. It sucks. Hate that. You're like, well, it don't sound good. Nobody wants to hear me play synth bass. No. Stop playing in the wrong range and set the sound up properly so it sounds good. Nobody want to hear you fiddle around with some laser bass sound all day. I hate that about these presets. Well, the C4 synth is right here, but no, it's not hooked up at the moment, and it's really no need to do a comparison because it's not even on the same level. I mean, you know, and to be fair, the reason why I don't do a whole lot of comparing the C4 synth to these pedals, these synth pedals came out in the last year or two. This came out like 10 years ago. So, you know, it's not really fair to ask the C4 synth to keep up with pedals that are pretty much brand new, just came out, you know, that got all the latest hardware and processors and everything else. No, you can't do that in the Future Impact. They say, I mean, you can do some type of reverb, like, here's a little tip. Delay is pretty much most effects. Most effects are made from delay. So including the modulations are made from delay, chorus, flanger, phaser, filters are made from delay, reverbs are made from delay. So all of it's actually delay, and that's why the Future Impact in the effects section where it says chorus and delay, they look the exact same, because depending on how you set it up, it can be a chorus, it can be a flanger or a phaser, and depending on, it can also be a delay or it can be a reverb, all by having different delay times and feedbacks and everything else. So you can get somewhat of a reverb sound out of the Future Impact, just not what you're going to get out of the Enzo X. That's for sure. but so right here, look how much better it tracks in this area than this area. And it's not the pedal's fault. These pedals track extremely fast and amazingly. The problem is it takes longer for these frequencies, for that sound wave to come into existence versus this. This takes way less time. Which has always been the problem with tracking in bass instruments. When you want to play below this low B or this A on the E string, it has to have enough time. It will track it, but it's got to have enough time to recognize the note and everything else, which takes longer. That's all it is. It's not their fault, and it's something that's going to take a while to work around because of the nature of the instrument. So yeah, I mean, and see, did I get a decent? I might got a decent chorus sound out of the Future Impact, but it was never nothing crazy. Let me see. Yeah. Taco Bell. Future Impact. That's crazy. And this is another thing about playing with the sound, right? So playing stuff like that, see, doesn't really fit that sound, but playing stuff like does. And this is why I don't need my dry bass sound in the synth sounds. When you play the keyboard, you don't have no bass sound in there unless you put it in there, you know? So, like, why does that sound have the dry bass sound in it? Who the heck needs that bell sound and the dry bass sound? That's the sound you need. Then you're more likely to play with the actual sound as well. And that's crazy. Somebody got paid to just do. Somebody got paid to just do that. That was the whole thing. They got paid to do that. That's crazy. But if I go just real quick, I'm going to go through some more sounds here. I just want to see this. Okay, I didn't use the chorus on there. These are just the overdrives and the filters on the Future Impact. I was able to get that up out of there too. So the Future Impact definitely, that's a fire little bass overdrive and filter sound. All right, back here. So let's skip back to where we were. Let's skip to something good. I like this flute sound. This is the only one I was like, all right, I can dig a bass and that flute sound together, but that's because, that's a good combination together. Yeah, it's definitely, that bell is also definitely an Michael Jackson intro. Yeah, it's the same filter. They ain't upgrade the filter. It just it takes it takes a while to understand how that filter, if you, because I was brand new to ADSRs, so I had to understand and really understand how I was using my envelopes for the amplitude and the filter, and the best way to understand it, the amp envelopes are pretty much shape the volume of the sound. So if you wanted the sound to fade in, or if you wanted to just come in and sustain, or if you wanted to give you like a bah, all that's amp envelope stuff. If you wanted to do like wow, and like a filter sound, you would attack, you had them wah, and decay owl, pretty much if you're going up the filter and sweeping down. And then the sustain is where it's sustained at and holds. And then you release is where, does it just close or does it close slowly or however. So just understanding those envelopes definitely helped me out a lot. But it did take me a while to fiddle around and get some actual good bass envelope settings with the Future Impact. I love this. That's right, loud. I love that flute sound. That flute sound fire. Let's go through some more. Yeah, see, I ain't gonna lie, I was never, yeah, that's pretty much what you're getting. You're getting a lot of vintage sounds with this. So I think for me, this is why I like the Future Impact in general. Future Impact is great at pretty much having a bunch of vintage mono synths available to you in a small package. Like, and I mean authentic sounding, feel great, fill out the music amazing. while the Enzo X is like a modern, newer synth. If you wanted to get something that sounded that you know, like its own original thing and amazing, you know, so that would be the difference between the two. Plus the certain other little features. You can also use the Future Impact to play other synths, like you can play them both with MIDI keyboard and all the extra stuff. So, but the FM sounds you cannot play with a MIDI controller yet. I'm sure they'll probably update it at some point, but for right now, you cannot play the FM Ceph engine with MIDI keyboard. See, these are a lot of little. If we being real, you know. Now we getting into like all the classic song versions of. I think 15 is one of them songs. One of them Michael Jackson songs. See which one it is. Didn't I take a picture of it? Let me see. Oh, I got them on my computer. Always back up. I love the fact that you can just back these pedals up, like all your sounds, and you can just back up the original sounds without doing too much. So 15, pull up this list of sounds here. 15 is Smooth Criminal. I'm trying to remember what key is in. I don't know. Whatever. No, whatever the bass line is. I don't even remember the bass line of that joint. You'd be surprised how often bass players, we don't keep every single bass line in our head. Wow, what a shocker. Nah, the Thriller sound was definitely made on subtractive synth, like mood type stuff. Hold on, give me 1 second, guys. So yeah, the Future Impact definitely covers that. You know, I like my preset for it a little bit more than the one they created for it, but you know, for Thriller, because y'all know I did a little pack. You know what I'm saying? I did that and Man in the Mirror. Ooh, that's loud. Let's do. Yep. Alright, let's just write one down. He's even able to get some of the other synth sounds. That's actually from the just one of the sound effects in the back of it, right? Started up here and just like beautiful. What else we had? So that's from Thriller. That's what I said. This joint, Future Impact, is crazy on the vintage bass synth side of the game. The Enzo X is crazy for a whole totally different purposes. Now it'll bass synth you under the table. Now don't sleep on it thinking it because it can get you those Moog type sounds or 2600 type sounds, but it tends to be in its own lane, but sound amazing still. So, but. So, Future Impact is just amazing at that all around. So, let's check out some other sounds. Let me see what that log drum sound is. Which number is that log drum sound on here? 70 something. $72. So you go to 72 on here. And I find I tend to get the pedal to track better when I don't use my dry signal. And that's not the pedal's fault. It's just that I can accurately judge what I am hearing from the synth sound versus what is my bass sound. And, you know, for the record, a lot of that log drum stuff was on the DX7, or is on the DX7. So, or DX plugins, DX7 type plugins. No, I wasn't using the expression pedal for any of that, any of the sounds I just showed you. That portamento just happens. That glide, the pedal can... Once you set it up in the pedal, that was part of the update too. When it's doing the pitch tracking, it'll now do the portamento or glide function as well. So it'll do stuff like that pitch dive you heard there, where it's just all it was doing was had a longer portamento time. So no matter what I did there, let's go back to it real quick. Going up, coming down, it's all the same time, right? It's just in the song, they already had it triggered to be up there, right? It was already there, and when they started recording, all he did was just press the one note. So, yeah, that's how that, I think that's what you were talking about. Yeah, you can get all types of sounds in Future Impact. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the just the stock DX7 sounds, like I said, they weren't really doing much for me. But I did find that, like, that flute sound. I love that flute sound and a few other sounds in there, but it wasn't that many I was like super thoroughly like, let's go, This is like a horn sound I created. Yeah, it does. It does track very well. It just has a little. I mean, none of them, they can't predict your mind. So some of it is at the moment, some of it is just a physical limitation. And if I start going super duper fast, on all of them, I can make every single one of these pedals glitch out doing, with certain things that are just difficult to track really quickly with the nature of a bass instrument, right? So, if you, as long as you keep it reasonable. A few more in here. No, that ain't mine. I think that's a stock one. Oh, the 20s. My attempt at a saxophone sound. Which actually sounds like a lot of those old vintage keyboard emulation of a saxophone, So just dirty bass synths first off. Stop playing. Here's the flute sound. But yeah, you can get some really, really fat sounds out that thing. In my opinion, Enzo X is going to be much more capable of getting closer to real sounds than the future Impact will, especially things like Rode, keyboard type sounds, strings, brass, pads, and you still get all them synth bass capabilities, and you can do a lot of things that vintage bass synths never could do on the Enzo X because of the routing. You got 6 different modifiers, you got 2 LFOs, sample and hold, and envelope, which is triggered by the by the signal of your bass. You got the hold modifier button, which is right there, and you also get a 16-step sequencer. Plus, you can assign up to 6 parameters to your expression pedal, and if you're not using those 6 slots, you can reassign them to the other modifiers. So you can have up to 7 things on one LFO if you wanted to. So that's insane. If you wanted 7 things on your envelope, 7 parameters triggered by the envelope, the input of your bass. Sample and hold is like a random number generator. So you want a random filter, you can assign the frequency cutoff to the sample and hold, and then it would just do random stuff with the filter, and then you can set up the pretty much the range of that in the modifier section. So Enzo X definitely wins in terms of flexibility, and not only just flexibility, the ability to be a multi-effects unit as well. It doesn't just sound good on the synths. You still got all your usual bass effects in there, all the chorus. So if you wanted your bass sounds, overdrive, distortion, flanger, chorus. Nice big flanger. Phaser. You also got ring modulator in here as well. My favorite ring modulator. And you get a bit crusher in there as well. So real powerhouse, fully MIDI capable. 2 5-pin MIDI ports MIDI in and out on the back, as well as USBs for the firmware updates. It also has software, but you can completely edit the entire thing on the pedal. Compared to the Future Impact, you're going to have to open up that software. You're going to have a MIDI interface for your computer. That's where the Future Impact becomes a little bit of a hassle. Like when I want to build new sounds, I literally have to decide that I really want to build them, because I got to hook up all this extra stuff to get to all the oscillators and everything else. Compared to the Enzo X, I'm more likely to just create on it because I have the ability to just simply create. Bass synths all day. and just got immediate access to them on my bass as well. This thing, I can just take a Enzo X or a Mercury X to a gig and be fine. Like, Enzo X even got a compressor in there. It's got compression, you know, vibrato. That filter is warm. Tell me that's not a nice. You mind that as a bass synth? And now I can compare that to the Future Impact real quick. Can't do like a little bass synth shootout between the two. MXR kind of left out as you ain't in this league. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I love you. Don't do me like that, baby. I love you. But you're not in this race. I don't want to see you hurt. Nah, but yeah, it ain't on the level of these two. In terms of flexibility and what it can do. Now, what it can do, you can grade some really great stuff, you know, but all right, that's the Enzo X. So let me change this to synth input. So just dirty. Just come on now. What? Destruction. Just destruction. It's just both of them. Both of them. It's not even one or the other. It's two different sounds. That's nasty. I mean, I can go back and forth all day, and they both are gonna give you some nasty work. Now, where the future impact, the reason, what's up, man? So why he ain't come ask us so? Why you gonna sing? They always send you here. Don't take none out either. Give him his whole thing. They always send the little brother in here to ask for stuff. They send the cutest one. You go in there. He's a 6-year-old. Malik want candy. Why Malik ain't come ask himself? That's kids for you. You gotta love them. But what the future impact has is the reason why that feels heavier than the Enzo X is because I also have that EQ'd on with each individual preset on here. Versus, the the Enzo X doesn't have an EQ. So I'm not actually, these are like un-EQ sounds running into an equalizer versus this is already EQ'd to be super heavy. Now, say I take this same sound, right? That's a super heavy sound, right? And I just changed the EQ balance on it. Oh, sorry, no, that's not that. Changed it. So it gets a little bit more even if I were to take that EQ off. Yeah, kids gonna be kids. What's going on? Appreciate you stopping by. You know, you make sure I get the love from both channels. I appreciate that. And Twitch. Appreciate you a lot. But yeah. Oh yeah, here you wait till the other ones come along. You wait till the other. Congratulations, by the way, on the new baby, on the 6-month-old. Congratulations. And it also, when you get to having more of them, they help. You know, it helps. They help entertain each other. So yeah, you know, this first one gonna be a little, you know, maybe be some sleepless nights, and it's gonna be every baby gonna be some sleepless nights, but. Yeah, congratulations though. You know, hang in there, and guess what? It's gonna change your life for the better. And I love my kids. My kids, the reason why I'm on here, grinding every day, getting it done. Trust and believe. Them smiling faces. When you able to do little things and go on little trips or do whatever, you know, all the hard work come together. So. Yeah, you definitely want to have more than one. You know, that typically, it helps you and it helps the child. Trust and believe. You don't want to be their only source of entertainment. You do not want to be their only source. That's when you start just being like, man, you give up and give into the iPad and stuff. But, you know, when it's multiple of them, you can like, nah, I'm going to take all the devices. Y'all go outside and play out in the dirt or something. But yeah, so Future Impact is definitely the way to go in terms of vintage bass synths. But if you only, you know, because everybody can't get a Future Impact and an Enzo X, like, so you like, it depends on if you're one of those people that's only going to be doing synth bass stuff and only synth bass stuff, because that's primarily what it's going to be for. You can get other sounds, but they're not. Synth bass, Future Impact. Every other synth, and including synth bass, Enzo X. You know, but yeah, if you're gonna get these. This is like, and this is why I had to have all three, right? Let me tell everybody why I have all three. It's because all of them are good. All of them are like having keyboards, like different keyboards, a motif, a Nord, this or that. Right, this is my Moog. This is my ARP 2600. Right, this is like my Yamaha CS80, like type of deal. You know, I can get all those CS80 type sounds, and I can also get some amazing bass synth, and it's just an all around amazing multi effects unit. It's a lot. You got polyphonic and monophonic pitch shifting in here as well, which you can get some really great sounds out of. So, and in here too, you also have in here harmonizer block. A lot of people don't utilize. Let's see, I'm trying to remember which sounds I actually used it on. I'd use it on a few of them in here, but yeah, you can have an octave up and two additional I guess intervals if you wanted to. So you can have three voices with the harmonizer and the synth going, and your drive signal being processed by the ADSR and the filter. You know, you can add noise. It's a lot in here. There's a lot in here. But this is going to be, you know, first off, they're not the same thing. Don't even worry about comparing them. None of these. All three different things. Don't think of them as a comparison. Think them as this is one thing, this is one thing. It's just different things. They're all marketed as synths, but completely different things. No, the Atlas compressor is not part of the chain at the moment, but this is a great stereo compressor. If you're looking for a good, amazing stereo compressor, take this Atlas compressor, run the 1176, 10-to-1 parallel compression, half wet, half dry, with a slow attack and a fast release. and then run that into a LA2A at a 1-to-1 ratio, so it's not compressing at all. And then you'll get that saturation from the tube emulation of the LA2A compressor, and you run that from there. It's completely wet from the LA2A, and then you got your, like, that was like an old studio trick back in the day, but it sounds amazing on everything. So you take that, and I run it on vocals, or I can use this on everything. So that's why the Atlas compressor is always around somewhere. And actually, the Mercury X compressor and limiter in here is so good, it took the Atlas compressor off my board. This was the end of my chain, before I had a Mercury X. I mean, the Mercury X is the end of the chain before it goes out to the loopers that are down on the floor. But the Enzo X, you just be getting busy. Just getting busy work. This the real kicker right here. It's great. And just switch back and forth whenever I want to. Always listening. All that swirling and reverb is, of course, the Mercury X. You just play one note, and that Mercury X is going. Stupid. But you can, all the pads. The lead sounds. Sax. You also get an arpeggiator in here, which is amazing. Stupid stuff like this. This one it really go crazy though. This is without the Mercury X. This is the Enzo X by itself. That filter is nasty. Sounds like this really show you the flexibility of the filter. That sounds like a few $1,000s worth of synth right there. Let's come over to the ambient section, right? So right now it's on echo. Right? You can really hear the echoes now. But you also get the large prism. Yeah. The prism is my favorite algorithm from the Mercury X. They included it on the Enzo X. So they give you a small, medium, and a large prism. The large one is my favorite. The one you're listening to now. Say I don't want it to respond. Like, you got an EQ for this too. Well, high and low pass filter. Take all them lows out the reverb. See, take out the highs. Say I want the time. I can have this assign this high pass, low pass filter, but it says highs. The high control of the ambient large prism, right? Reverb. I can take that and assign it to the same LFO that's already modulating the filter. So I can make this reverb pretty much respond at the same time as the filter is sweeping. So maybe have it fade in with the lows. When the low sweep comes, and then have it like that. Then as it's coming back, right? And as it's going the other way, have them lows come back in. And have the highs come back in. I can literally have it assign those parameters to do that exact thing time with using that same LFO that filter is on. And this is how I'll come up with little things. I think about it. I know what each parameter does. Think about it. And the Enzo X, Mercury X, Future Impact give me the flexibility, like within the unit, to do all that amazing stuff. So yeah, I definitely love them a lot. Love those pedals a lot. But yeah, guys, I hope this was useful to you. If you grab any of these pedals, make sure you say let them know that the Bass Nigga sent you. and to hit them up. You know what I'm saying? If you got any companies or products you want me to review or think I should, be in contact with, feel free to reach out on my behalf and say, you guys should check out the Bass Niggas. You know what I'm saying? When you get a chance, rada. That's actually how Maris found me. One of you all, and how Panda Audio found me was through Neo Lover 23 having me grab this Future Impact V4. So, I definitely appreciate you guys. Like I say, having you guys as a community means a lot to me. Some people they look at the amount. I'm not necessarily looking at that. I look at, I got folks that's supporting me, that's rocking with me, so I'm gonna rock with them, and that's all I worry about. The rest of the people will jump on the bandwagon later, but I appreciate you guys that take the time to hang out with me already. Before everything pops off and everything, you guys are part of the foundation of this channel, and I greatly thank you. I can't express to you guys. Also, the Patreon, shout out to all the Patreon subscribers, and people that buy the preset packs. Check out all my preset packs for all these various pedals, C4 Synth and the Zoom B6, all that stuff. So, also, if you just want to support the channel every month, for $1, $5, you can do that on Patreon. If you found this useful, hit Cash App, Super Chat, all that good stuff. And if nothing else, hit that like button, subscribe, hit the hype button, share it with a few friends on different social media. Find me on different social media at the Bass Niggas. Check out my music at allbasscreations.bandcamp. And I definitely will see you guys tomorrow. And I definitely appreciate that, man. Thank you. I appreciate that, because you tune in all the time. So if anybody would know, you would know, and you on the receiving end of it, I'm putting it out. So I appreciate that feedback and just that compliment as well. So, but all right, folks, I'll see you guys later. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of All Bass Creations, effects, tutorials, demos, and review. I am the Bass Negus, Negus. I'll catch you guys next time. And you didn't miss it. All you got to do is rewind it. It's going to be up on YouTube forever. Don't worry about that. I don't pull my live streams down, so you can always replay it. But y'all have a great day. Be safe out there. Remember,